For over 2 years, the haunting specter of the Idaho student murders has cast a long, dark shadow over a quiet university town and gripped the nation. 4 promising lives extinguished in the dead of night, a crime so brutal it defied comprehension, and a seemingly endless wait for justice. Now, a bombshell has exploded in the heart of this agonizing saga, sending shockwaves through the victims' families, the legal community, and millions who have followed every twist and turn. Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of this heinous quadruple homicide, has reportedly accepted a plea deal, a decision that, if formalized today, will spare him the ultimate penalty, death. But while this development might bring a sense of finality for some, for others, it has ignited a fresh wave of fury, a profound sense of betrayal, and a desperate plea for a justice they feel is being denied. This is not just a legal maneuver, it's a deeply emotional pivot in a case that has touched raw nerves across America. The question now isn't if Bryan Kohberger will be held accountable, but how, and what implications this surprising turn holds for the pursuit of justice in the most high-profile crimes. The news broke with a stunning swiftness. Bryan Kohberger, the 30-year-old former criminology PhD student, accused of the brutal November 2022 slayings of University of Idaho students Ethan Chapman, Zana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, has agreed to plead guilty. The critical caveat? The plea deal removes the possibility of the death penalty. While specific details were initially scarce, information quickly filtered through legal channels and confirmed by attorneys representing the victims' families. The reported terms of the agreement would see Kohberger plead guilty to all 4 counts of first-degree murder, accepting 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 10 years for a felony burglary charge. This means he would waive his right to a jury trial and all future appeals, bringing what prosecutors hope will be a swift and definitive end to the lengthy legal process. This development comes just weeks before his highly anticipated August trial, which had already been moved to Boise due to extensive pre-trial publicity. The timing itself has been described by legal analysts as a bombshell, raising questions about why this agreement emerged so late in the process, especially after prosecutors had previously declared their intention to seek capital punishment. To truly grasp the weight of this plea deal, we must recall the horrific events that plunged the small town of Moscow, Idaho, into a nightmare. In the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were brutally stabbed to death in their off-campus rental home. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapman, all vibrant young individuals with promising futures, were found deceased by roommates the following afternoon. Autopsies later revealed that the victims were likely asleep when they were attacked, though some showed defensive wounds, indicating a struggle. Each victim had been stabbed multiple times. The sheer brutality and randomness of the killings terrorized the tight-knit community, which had not experienced a homicide in nearly 5 years. The initial weeks following the murders were shrouded in mystery and fear. With no immediate suspects and little information, a massive multi-state investigation was launched. Law enforcement, along with the FBI, worked tirelessly, sifting through thousands of tips, reviewing countless hours of surveillance footage, and gathering crucial forensic evidence. The hunt for the perpetrator became a national obsession, dominating headlines and social media discussions. The Moscow Police Department faced immense public pressure to deliver answers, and the families of the victims endured an unimaginable period of grief and uncertainty. The breakthrough came 6 weeks later, thousands of miles away. On December 30, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. At the time of his arrest, Kohberger was a PhD criminology student and teaching assistant at Washington State University, located just 9 miles from the University of Idaho campus. The evidence that led to his arrest was a testament to meticulous police work. Investigators stated they matched his DNA to genetic material found on a knife sheath recovered at the crime scene. Additionally, cell phone data and surveillance video allegedly placed Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra in the vicinity of the victim's home multiple times before and during the early morning hours of the murders. Online shopping records also reportedly showed Kohberger had purchased a military-style knife and a sheath similar to the one found at the scene months prior to the killings. Despite the overwhelming evidence, a motive for the brutal attacks has never been publicly disclosed, nor has it been explained why 2 other roommates present in the house were spared. The decision to offer and accept a plea deal, especially one that removes the death penalty, is a complex one, deeply rooted in legal strategy and the pursuit of finality. For prosecutors, securing a guilty plea guarantees a conviction and spares the state the immense resources, time, and potential risks of a lengthy, high-profile trial that could last months. It also avoids the possibility of a hung jury or, however remote, an acquittal. Furthermore, it bypasses the decades of appeals that inevitably follow a death penalty conviction, which can drag out the legal process for victims' families for what feels like an eternity. The Latter County Prosecutor's Office, in a letter to the victims' families, reportedly stated, "This resolution is our sincere attempt to seek justice for your family. This agreement ensures that the defendant will be convicted, will spend the rest of his life in prison, and will not be able to put you and the other families through the uncertainty of decades of post-conviction appeals." For the defense, the plea deal is undoubtedly a significant victory. Kohberger's legal team had previously attempted to have the death penalty stricken from consideration, even arguing that his autism diagnosis made him less culpable. By accepting the plea, Kohberger avoids the risk of execution and secures a lifetime sentence, albeit behind bars. However, the reactions from the victims' families have been starkly divided, highlighting the profound emotional toll this unexpected development has taken. The family of Ethan Chapin, through their spokesperson, expressed support for the plea deal, citing a desire for resolution and to avoid the painful, drawn-out trial process. Ben Mogan, Madison Mogan's father, also indicated relief, stating, "We can actually put this behind us and not have these future dates and future things that we don't want to have to be at, that we shouldn't have to be at, that have to do with this terrible person. We get to just think about the rest of our lives and have to try and figure out how to do it without Maddie and without the rest of the kids." But for the family of Kaylee Goncalves, the news was met with outrage and a profound sense of betrayal. In a blistering Facebook post, they declared, "We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time." This was very unexpected. They revealed that while prosecutors had vaguely mentioned a possible plea on Friday, they had explicitly stated their firm opposition to any deal that would take the death penalty off the table. Aubrey Goncalves, Kaylee's 18-year-old sister, wrote, "Bryan Kohberger facing a life in prison means he would still get to speak, form relationships, and engage with the world. Meanwhile, our loved ones have been silenced forever. That reality stings more deeply when it feels like the system is protecting his future more than honoring the victims' pasts. They are pushing for a full confession, full accountability, the location of the murder weapon, and confirmation that Kohberger acted alone, expressing their desire to know when the beginning of the end was." They even urged supporters to contact the Ada County Courthouse to oppose the deal. In Idaho, a judge must approve any plea agreement, though such rejections are rare. The plea hearing is scheduled for today, Wednesday, July 2, 2025, at 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Saving Time, which is 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, July 3. The Goncalves family has reportedly asked for a delay to allow them more time to travel to Boise and express their concerns directly to the court. Legal experts weigh in, noting that while victims' input is crucial, the final decision rests with the prosecution and the judge. It's a victim's right to have input in the prosecution, but also to make sure the court knows how they feel about a plea, said one analyst. The victims don't have control over the outcome, but they can offer something that helps the court analyze whether the plea is in the interest of justice. Should the judge accept the plea, Kohberger would likely be sentenced in late July. This resolution, if it proceeds as expected, marks a dramatic shift in one of the most closely watched criminal cases in recent memory. While it closes one painful chapter, it opens another for the families, who now must grapple with a different form of justice than many had hoped for. The debate over restorative justice versus retributive justice will continue to echo long after the headlines fade, but for now, the shocking reality is that the man accused of the Idaho murders has dodged the death penalty, ushering in a new phase for a community desperate for peace. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with the latest breaking stories.